Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben Childs, and we don't have any Hector today. He couldn't make it, but it's all good. We've got another great show for you. Episode 26. We're really racking them up here. It's almost like, let me see, so 52. Yeah, we're about halfway through a year. There's about 6 months worth of shows. So yeah, we've really been enjoying doing it. And what have I been doing this week? I have a friend visiting from out of town who's staying on our couch, and if you follow this podcast, you'll know that my couch is rarely free of people, and it's finally and it's got someone back on there again. So big up, Jen. I don't know if you are going to listen. I know that Jen, our friend, has listened to a couple of these, so I'll tell her to listen to this one. Big up, Jen. How's it going? All right, so we have Lee and Scott from Full Victim. How you doing, guys?
Good. We're doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, cool. No, it's my pleasure. You know, I've known about you guys sort of a little bit from afar, so it's nice to finally meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Lee and Scott. It's Lee Scott is the name of my best friend, and I have his name tattooed on my knuckles, which is crazy. Yeah, we just figured that out right before we started. So I'm never ever going to forget your names, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So why don't we get right into this? You in Full Victim, which is like a really awesome local like alt rock kind of emo type punk band, and I don't want to throw these words out there and give people sort of any kind of reason to think it's one thing or another. I've listened to music and it's really rocking and fantastic. So I'm really stoked to have you guys here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Pleasure's ours for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, like throwing those terms out there, genres. We were joking earlier.
Matters.
Well, we were joking earlier about like the whole emo thing and stuff like that.
Emo, to certain people, emo can have a bit of bad connotations. And the thing that we were talking about actually was that, you know, and what Justin, who's on the boards back there, said very rightly, is that, you know, the emo fad produced some pretty bad bands, but emo as a genre, there's some fantastic bands.
Yeah, emo is short for emotional, right? So
exactly.
Like,
yeah.
You bring emotion into the music, into the lyrics, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, I think we're if we were to put ourselves in a corner, we're definitely more in the alt rock sort of realm, pop punk.
Yeah,
and that's.
But Lee's an emotional guy.
So.
I mean, like, hey,
in
there, you know. So,
but in order to write this stuff, you know, you gotta explore emotions, you gotta explore the thoughts, and
absolutely,
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. You know, most of the best music is written from feeling strongly enough about something to write a song about it. You know. So,
yeah. Absolutely.
I think, virtually no music is devoid of emotion. Maybe Kraftwerk.
Right? Yeah, anything that's got an accordion in it. You know?
The second Kill Billy's album has an accordion all over it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's great. It's all right. There was this. Do you remember Gary Larson? That
the Far Side.
Yeah, there was this one really great thing that he had, which was welcome to heaven, here's your harp, and there's welcome to hell, here's your accordion.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. I always think of that whenever I think of the accordion.
Absolutely.
It's a challenge. The thing about the accordion is it's like very many instruments. It can be played just awfully, or it can be played beautifully. You know, it just depends on who's doing it.
Yeah, I've seen some like videos of people playing them in person. Or not in person, but I've seen people playing them, and it sounds very good and everything. Now, I will say, like, bagpipes, that's one that I don't think you can say that about.
Well, interestingly, this is funny because I come from a family of people who, like, well, my uncle in particular, but also the other members of my family, my mum and my brother and my sister, who we've sort of grew up playing folk instruments. And my uncle is a very good bagpipe player.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's in this band called Blowzabella, and they're like it's like Celtic European dance music, which is like not like dance music, like actual kind of
with the bagpipes.
Yeah, like kind of country dancing type dance music.
Okay.
Yeah, and they go out to France and Spain, and they do these enormous. I mean, not for a while, obviously, because of everything that's going on, but like you know, in normal times, they play to real big crowds out there, and they're all dancing. I swear to God, it's really difficult to describe it to some. Have you ever been to Europe?
I haven't. No, it's on the bucket list, though.
It's difficult to describe to a lot of my American friends because it's just so culturally different, but it's so cool. And they have Blows the Bell of their band is this big band that has like there's saxophone players, bagpipe players. There's a this tattoo I have on my arm is of a hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah.
And I have those windy things.
Oh, yeah.
They have a
I've seen
hurdy-gurdy
those.
player, and they have this amazing accordion player. He's called Andy Cutting, and he's one of the best accordion players in the world. Anyway, all these fantastic instrumentalists, and then they make this beautiful folk music, which is actually sort of how I ended up kind of wanting to do more folky stuff, and it's all kind of interwoven into Killbillies and stuff like that. Yeah. But
That's pretty cool. I think bagpipes, the one thing is like, if there was a volume control.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
No, I feel that. Every now and again on St. Patrick's Day, sometimes one of the bagpipe players wants to play with us. They'll like get up, and they're always like a quarter tone flat. And so there's like no way of playing with the band with them, and it always sounds like a complete train wreck. But it's fun though.
you gotta make sure it's an outdoor venue. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The only times that bagpipes come out in the US is weddings, funerals, and St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And they don't come out a lot more than that in the British Isles either. But there are some sort of corners where folk music and stuff is played, and so they're a little bit more common over there.
Yeah.
So why don't we get into these questions? Why did you start playing music, Lee? The big question right now.
It's I think I listened to a bunch of different bands when I was younger, and for some reason I just really got drawn towards the electric guitar.
Cool.
Did
did your mum and dad listen to music?
They did, but they didn't really listen to rock music or punk or anything like that. So that was kind of more me, and I guess I don't really remember who I first listened to or how I kind of got inspired from that, but I wanted to learn the guitar. And for my 11th birthday, I went with my dad to House of Guitars in New York, and
Neat.
I could have gone with a little like Squire Strats or whatnot, brand new. But
Was
I was
that
like,
on the road where back in the day when there was that road of music shops and there was like Sam Ash and all that stuff on the same road?
It was so not New York City,
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But that sounds like heaven.
Oh my god! I don't think it's there anymore.
I went to Manny's. Did you ever been to Manny when it was open? Manny's music store.
No. Well, maybe
Yeah.
by accident. Was it in New?
It was in New York City. Yeah.
I think I. You know what? I have been there, but it was a really long time ago, and I don't remember a huge amount about it.
Yeah. It was just like a hole in the wall place, but it was just so like iconic.
Is it on that street with the? If it's on that street, I
Yeah,
went
it's
there.
on the street.
Yeah,
Well,
I went there
yeah,
then, yeah.
They
you've
just
been there.
closed down
Yeah.
because of COVID.
No, they've been closed.
Oh, okay.
They've been
that
closed for
road-
a long time.
Everyone got priced out, when
that's
Manhattan
insane.
started getting more and more expensive. That road just
crazy.
kind of had dissolved. I went there in October of 2001, so it was right
You're still
after
there,
the terrorist attack.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And the place seemed like dazed. Like I had birds tweeting around its head. Everyone was kind of like, whoa. Everyone was being really nice to us, and there was this crazy sense of community. Everyone was just like wanted to talk to you.
Yeah.
It was a really strange atmosphere, and it was like, so we flew over, and there was like 8 people on the plane. You know what I mean? Because no one wanted to fly, and
Yeah.
I mean, understandably, that was it was a
2
really
decades ago.
interesting- Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
It was an interesting trip. That
Yeah.
was the first time I ever came to the US.
Oh,
Wow.
that was a good thing you landed.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So
Getting back to your music.
Yeah.
So you got your guitar.
I did.
What
I did.
happened then?
The first song I learned was "Sound of Silence" by
Right.
Simon and Garfunkel.
lovely.
My dad did play guitar, and so he had an acoustic, and he had a couple of song sheets in there.
Yeah.
And I remember it's this orange piece of paper. It had "Sound of Silence" on there, so it was just like learning the basic chords there. I couldn't play it now for you, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure if I listened to it, I could. But that was just the first thing that really kind of got me rolling. and
Sure.
everything.
I think,
Yeah.
Simon and Garfunkel has definitely played a big part in my upbringing as well. At first, when you hear them when you're a young teenager, it's just, bewitching, isn't it? Beautiful
Yeah.
music.
Oh, my dad still had the records and everything, so I listened to some of his older stuff. He would talk me through it. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, awesome.
But I think I didn't really start writing music for a while. I wrote poetry when I was younger, like middle school, and early high school and all that. But it wasn't really until maybe mid high school that I started writing music. And with that, I started playing a little more guitar as well. And I I'm not a formal guitarist. Like I haven't had any lessons or anything
Right.
like that. But I'm able to.
Do you play any chords in a funny ways? I taught myself how to play guitar at the beginning, and I taught my like E in like a diagonal line, like I have like these two fingers are the wrong way round.
Yeah.
And so now I have to think to not do that. Like when I'm
yeah,
teaching,
muscle
I can do
memory.
both ways just
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
But like, you know, my natural way is to do the wrong way.
Well, I think so. Was it when people play bar chords and stuff? It looks like they're giving everyone the bird, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, I just like always curl my finger back. So sometimes it's the major, sometimes it's the minor. But like, so that.
Get everybody some free
Maybe.
birds, you know.
Yeah. It's like the opposite of the free bird, right? But I would say like that maybe that's the only thing. But,
Right, gotcha.
But yeah, so I mean, for a while there, I was really considering myself more of a songwriter than a musician. And,
Yeah.
And I think I finally, got in my head when more people were like, "Oh, so you play guitar?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, okay."
Yeah, it's cool.
And now at this point, obviously, like, we're getting paid, not getting paid a lot, but we're getting paid, right?
Sure, yeah.
To play music.
if
so
you
I
get-
guess you could say
If
professional
someone pays you
musicians.
any amount of money to
Yeah.
play music, I think you're allowed
Yeah.
to claim pro musician. I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. So especially, I think that's kind of been not a turning point for us, but it's enough for me to really feel like a sense of fulfillment, or I'm part of something that's different.
Yeah, man.
Before it was, I would play my songs and I'd do some open mics or some like acoustic shows or stuff like that. But now I've got 3 guys with me, and we're all doing our own thing, kind of into one sound, and
That's cool.
and people are liking it. So, I mean, that's
What about you,
that's
Scott?
a
How
dream,
did you
right?
get into playing music?
So, my father, he plays keyboards. Actually, I think he did something here for you guys. The
live
On
stream.
Monday band. Like
Oh,
he plays
yeah.
the keyboards. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, we've met.
Funny guy,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I booked the bands up at Handlebars. So
Yeah. So they play there,
I
like,
booked-
all the
Yeah, I
time.
met him last month, and I
Oh, very cool.
and
yeah.
Terry, who's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
singer,
Yeah.
I taught her how to play bass.
Oh, how cool, man. That's
no
awesome.
way.
Yeah.
So my dad was kind of like the musician of the family, and I remember just as a kid, I might have been like 8. I don't really remember, but I remember like going to this music store and looking around, just being dragged along, as I had 2 older brothers, and we're just like in there and we're looking around, and my dad buys this drum kit and he brings it home, and I'm looking at him like, this guy's weird. Like, why is he buying a drum kit? And
Right.
like he sets it up, and he's like, hey, so you're gonna learn how to play the drums? And I'm like, what? He's like, I don't play drums. Like, I don't play anything. He's like, no, you're gonna play the drums.
Okay.
So he kind of like said, give it a shot. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. He's like, just do this. Like, it taught me a really simple beat, like,
Cool.
So I was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
And then when I started listening to like oldies, I used to listen to oldies a lot with my
Right.
dad. So like
Nice.
hearing the songs, I used to like in my head be playing, like mentally, like be playing the
Sure.
drums.
Yeah.
So then when I said the drum kit, I'm like, oh, I can do that, and I just picked it up,
Cool.
But then like you get a little bit older, and like they're like, oh, you want you to take piano lessons, and I like fought it tooth and nail. Like I hated piano.
Yeah.
I remember like I used to come up with all manner of lies to get out of practicing my piano.
It was terrible.
Yeah, some
I-
really elaborate lies.
I made it through like one like recital, like Christmas recital, and I played, and I was like so nervous and like sweating. Is like I hate playing the piano that much, and then afterwards, like shortly after, like a week later, my brother was driving home. My older brother, he was driving home, and he spots this guitar in a trash can. He grabs it. He's like, "Hey Scott, you want this?" And I'm like,
Oh, wow.
Sure, okay." And he's like, "Yeah, you can have it." He didn't want it, So I'm like, yeah. So I sat down with it, and I went to a friend's house, and he taught me like a really simple lick on the guitar. But before, when I would look at a guitar as a kid, you see all these lines and stripes and dots. It's like intimidating,
Yeah.
right? You teach,
Yeah,
so
for
you
sure.
know, like you look at it, you're like, what is this thing?
Yeah.
Geometry,
I know,
like
yeah.
algebra, So me and math are just like, I don't want to deal with that. But
Sure.
it started making more sense. I'm like, well, if I can play a drum beat, I can kind of play like strings, drum strings. And then like for some reason, I sat down for 3 weeks and my fingers were bloody. Like I never moved from like just playing the guitar. And like 3 weeks from there, I was able to like play songs,
Yeah,
So
neat.
I don't know. I just picked it up.
I think it's a really good example as well of like, you just really reminded me of when I was a kid. my parents would buy me nice toys, train set or whatever, like, and then they'd find me sitting there playing with a piece of dust and a bottle cap.
Exactly. Yeah, my kids play with like cardboard boxes more than they play with toys. It's definitely a thing.
Yeah. And so it's like you got bought this drum set and you weren't interested, and then someone gives you a guitar out of the garbage and you're like, yep, that's the thing.
That's it.
Yeah.
And man, that thing served me well. I learned a lot.
So my first guitar, I didn't get one of those like nice, Squire Strats or whatnot. I got the Yamaha imitation Fat Strat that already had like chips knocked out of it, but it was red and black.
Oh yeah.
Right. So
that was rock and roll.
That was the thing. It's like, no, I don't want something that's pristine. I want something that's kind of beat up and all.
I remember when I got my first guitar. It was when that movie Wayne's World came out, and I persuaded my dad to buy me a Mexican Strat, and it was like the cream one that's in that show.
Yeah.
And it had like on the back had like a little Wayne's World. Like little plaque there on the back. My brother has it now. It's at his house in Bristol in the UK. At some point, I'm going to kind of get him to ship it over to me. But yeah, I remember getting that and just being in love with it. I remember for the first couple of weeks, I like slept within my bed. I'd be like practicing, and then I'd wake up and I'd be like still holding it. I was obsessed with music when I was a kid. Yeah, that's cool. So, do you guys, how does the writing work? Does it all come from you, or how do you flesh it out?
I mean, so far, yeah. So a lot of the songs that we play are songs that I've written either, like college or a couple years. A couple of them are new ones. Right?
Yeah.
So Ignite the Future, which you guys are going to hear in a little bit, that one I wrote just a couple months ago. But, Scott wrote the solo on that.
Right.
Josh brings in the drums. Ron brings in the bass.
What do you do structure-wise? Is that already all locked down?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, gotcha.
That's me.
That's quite rare.
We've tried a couple of writing sessions, and I think we've got a couple of different things. But in terms of like complete songs and all, my motif is I sit down with an unplugged electric guitar. I just kind of I get in my head or whatnot, and I'll just hit record on the phone or whatnot. And
that's cool. That's awesome.
And generally, it's pretty.
That's
quick.
how Justin writes too. Justin writes complete songs and then teaches them to the band.
Yeah.
Justin's I mentioned before, is the owner of LMC, and he's currently hiding behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
But so I find with me when I write that I come with like 3/4 of the thing, or like 2/3 of the thing, and then have, and then we flesh it out as a band. So it tends to be how I've always done it. I think I'm like a bit more of a big picture guy. I come with like a good hook and like most of the lyrics written, and then we kind of flesh out the details. But it's interesting, when you have that whole other approach where it's like you come with almost a finished product.
Yeah, I mean, so we're still a pretty new band, right?
Yeah.
So
when did you start?
Technically, so I got together with our drummer Josh in October of 2020, and we got Rowan, and then Scott came on January, and we had our first show in January. Actually, we had our first show 2 weeks after Scott came on, and so he learned like 5 songs in 5 days.
Yeah.
So
where did you guys play? What was your first show?
Kelsey Theater. It was a battle of the bands, and we won it. So
hell yeah,
dude. Right? It was kind of crazy, We had all these songs. We played our 5-song set or whatnot, and it came down to a tie with another great band out there, and they called us back for an encore, and we were sitting back there in the green room, and said,
I packed my stuff up.
He did. He did it intentionally, and so I did too. I followed him.
It was Airways to Heaven, and they do like a Led Zeppelin cover. They're awesome. I'm like, dude, we lost. Let's just let's pack up our stuff and go home, because I was tired anyway. I was like,
he said, if we put our guitars in the car, then
I said, dude, if we pack it away, they won't ask us to come back on stage. That was my thought.
Trying to sort of mitigate the pain of not winning a little bit and getting out.
No. I was having. I wasn't really thinking that. I was just thinking like, we had fun and all that sort of stuff. He was like, let's pack up the guitars. I'm like, okay, all right. So we did, and then they came back and they said, we want you guys to like play another song. Play another one. And I said, well, Scott, you don't know any of our other songs.
Way down the street, yeah.
And we were like, well, we're not going to do this. We're not going to play, a different song without one of our band members. So we went out and we actually played one of our songs again. And this time he jumped off the drum set and like all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I kind of danced around.
And
with
all the
it
rock
was
and roll
fun.
stuff.
And
That's cool.
You know, it's original music. So
The other guys weren't doing that.
Well, I think there was one guy who did a couple of original songs,
Okay.
but the sound guy was also doing lights and stuff. And so for our show, when we were up there the first time, like we didn't have anything spectacular because he didn't know our stuff. But the other bands, it seemed like he knew every single like solo's coming, so we're gonna, you know, all that.
He did us good the second time.
The second
really
time
did.
they
He
had
did.
heard the song Songbird, and so they brought out all the stops and the lights were like more coordinated. All that. So it was a lot of fun, and that was kind of like, you know, I felt.
I'll have to show you the
rock
video
star and
sometime
everything.
because it's just so funny.
It
You
is.
see Lee like playing, and then all of a sudden you see this like guy jump out of space, like and land and spin around.
Yeah,
It's just-
he's
you know, it's
spinning
just
around,
like-
and then you spun your Gresh and dropped it.
yeah, it is. It
On
was fun.
purpose, and I was
I
like,
mean, you gotta give him a shot.
when I
You
saw it
know, like
after.
it was
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
You know,
But so
Can
like,
you do the thing where you spin it around your body?
I used
all
to
right,
do that. I
so
don't do that anymore.
I
yeah.
can't remember that guitar, the
Yeah.
the red guitar, my first guitar. That's like been all being up. Yes,
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
but
we played with a
haven't
lot
done it yet.
back in the day when I played with Sonic Boom 6. We played with like, you know, a lot of the kind of like that kind of punk bands, like post-hardcore, sort of emo core, like metalcore type bands. And it's for a minute there was a window of like a year or two where every single one of them was doing that thing. You know, they just
Yeah.
had it nailed
Oh, yeah,
down.
the spinning,
It's a cool move, man. I never figured it out.
I haven't done it live. I
Right,
haven't done
yeah.
it. This was like, I wanted to see, can I do it? Can I do it? And I got strap locks and everything. But
Yeah.
whenever you buy
Sometimes
strap
they don't-
locks,
sometimes they don't
the
work too well,
screws,
yeah.
the screws suck. Like you
Yeah.
need to get different screws because I threw it, and like my friend's got
Gets
this
loose, yeah.
super old like potato phone video of me doing it, right?
Right.
And and so I throw it. I'm like, all right, cool. All right, cool. And then I go the other way. All right, cool. Once more, and then splat. Like the guitar goes down. It gets pulled right out. So,
Yeah.
but either way, no. I mean, like Scott really pulled out all the stops on that one, and we played it really
Sick.
well and everything. And that's the song that's coming out.
That's cool, man. People can kind of tell when you're like, you know, hungry, you know, like when you're sort of ready for it, and it comes across in a live performance. Some of the best performances I've ever done is when we were late to the place.
Gotta make up for it. Tom.
Anxious and like,
Gotta make up for it. You know?
where's my cable? Where's my Mogami?
I'm not suggesting anyone should. That's funny. Here a little bit of inside baseball there. We were running around looking for a cable earlier, but what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I'm not in any way suggesting people be late for gigs. In fact, that's a terrible thing to do. But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, it's an interesting writing process. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about is you guys self-recorded, right?
Yeah.
And you recorded it, right, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about your setup and stuff?
Oh yeah, sure. So about my setup or about
Just at the whole thing, you're recording the record and how you recorded it.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so I have a bunch of I'd say old equipment. It's not super old,
It's not,
but it's
yeah.
just older because I used to
Right.
like run a little studio, and
Cool.
I moved up. I'll kind of give you the short version, but like I used to do something in Jupiter at a little studio called Sacred Heart Studios,
Yeah.
and I used to
Yeah, I've
do
heard of that
like
place.
record little things here and there, and everything from like voiceover work from like people that sold billions and jillions of albums. There's a guy named James James
Right.
Last, famous dude. If
Oh,
you ever
yeah.
look him up.
Yeah, I've read James Last.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He came and did some vocal. I recorded Burt Reynolds before he passed away, doing some vocal. Yeah, little
What,
things.
you met Burt Reynolds?
Yeah, he was awesome.
That's so
dude.
cool. He's such a hero, man. I love that guy.
He
It's
was
crazy.
so cool and chill, but
Yeah.
super funny too.
I bet.
Yeah, I was so surprised, and when I met him, you could tell he was getting kind of deteriorating a little bit, you know, but he was still there, dude, and he was awesome. He was
Oh,
very
that's
cool.
awesome.
So, and then everything from classical music to like hard rock and hip hop, you name it. I just did whatever I could do.
Yeah.
But a little background, like, so I went to Full Sail University, like
Yeah.
for audio engineering and stuff. And, I was talking to, I think, Justin earlier, like you can learn it just as good sitting in there in your room, just taking your time.
It's really just access
It's just
is the main
it's time.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, if
Yeah.
anything, it just sped up the process. But
Right,
like
yeah.
the reason I got into recording is because I was like 16 and there was like a small like music label in the area. And I landed like a deal with them doing some recording stuff. But when I was in the studio with the engineer, I would get frustrated because I wanted to have real drums. And I wanted to
Right.
have like real guitars. And I wanted
Sure.
to be mic'd.
Yeah.
I wanted to do everything like direct and all this other stuff. And it just didn't sound right. You know what I mean? It just didn't sound right. You don't
suck the life out of it.
If you have a beautiful microphone, you don't plug your acoustic guitar in, right? Like you mic the acoustic guitar. So like,
well, at least do both. Like,
right? Yeah. You could do both, but it was not. It was just like scratched my head. I'm like, this can't be right because that's not how I want it to sound. You know?
Yeah.
So that got my gears turning, and I started like producing my own stuff. You know, back then, and then going to school definitely like helped that. And I had some bands that I played in and stuff, and I did some.
Cool. I'm going to pick your brains about that stuff later. You were mentioning a mic earlier that piqued my interest.
Yeah, you'll love it. Yeah,
it made a big difference for me.
It did, and the cool thing about the microphone, I won't talk too much about it right now, but like you could change and decide, well, that sounds best for his voice compared to the other one. So it was nice. You could do it after the fact, afterwards. So it's cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, software comes.
Yeah.
That's badass.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Cool,
but
man.
so
how
for the
do you
album,
record the drums and stuff like that?
So what I prefer to do is to like mic a kit like this and then sound replace.
Right.
So
gotcha.
Yeah,
I do a little bit of that.
Yeah. Just to kind of get the live cymbal sound and that type of thing.
You get like super awesome kick and snare samples.
Yeah, exactly. Or just blend them. You can always do more or less, but it just depends on the song, right? So it just depends on what you're going for. But
you can get lost in that. Sometimes
you go crazy.
Oh my god, drums!
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially if you didn't record the drums really well. It's like So I've spent the most ridiculous amount of time on poorly recorded drums. I've just sat there for days. Sometimes
it's terrible.
It's definitely taught me the hard way, the lesson to get it right the first time.
Yeah.
Actually record them well.
Record it well, yeah. I mean, it's like a paintbrush. All these microphones are just tools, so it's like, well, what kind of paintbrush do I want to use for this? And
such a great analogy. You should write music.
I should. I do. I did a lot of writing for myself. So I had my studio in Jupiter, but then ended up moving to Tennessee for a while and took a stab at just writing and pitching for like TV, film, and commercial.
Right.
And I've gotten some placements through that, and that's awesome. It's great. Then I decided I got to find a way to put my wife at home and like make real money. So I started getting into some other things.
Sure.
So I still keep all that musical knowledge, but I work my business, which is doing like hearing testing, and I fit people with like hearing aids and stuff. So I go from like rocking people,
custom earplugs.
I can make custom plugs and stuff.
If you want some custom earplugs, go see Scott.
Yeah, there you go. So Premier Hearing. So I go from like rocking out to like making people go deaf to having to treat their hearing.
That's the cause and the solution.
I get both, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's great.
But so I still have a lot of that equipment, and it was like a no-brainer. It's like, oh, we want to do something. Like, yeah, we can do that. So it's like, in whatever time that we had, we just kind of threw it together, more or less.
Yeah, so I think I will say this is we do play a couple of Scott songs as well with the band. Yeah. And
was it the same situation? Just kind of like Scott brought the song and you play it how as is?
Right. With these, like, I think
with some of them, yeah. But I'm always kind of like pretty relaxed when it comes, because a band brings a different thing to it, know. And like to me, like it doesn't have to be played exactly the way it was recorded, because there might be something that the bass player does or the drummer does that's like, oh, that's cool. Let's like work on that a little bit. And I think we kind of do that with your stuff too.
We do. There are certain songs where it's kind of like, well, this is like, there's a reason that I wrote it this way. And with Josh, our drummer, that was something that it took him a little bit when we first started playing together. He's like, I don't know why you do this. It was always kind of like either an extra measure or like a stop at a certain point. He's like, I don't know why you do this. And coming from a drummer, that's kind of like, why do you stop there? Like, you should do something. And then, the more that we played together, the more he told me, he said, I understand why you do it now. Like,
gotcha.
You've got this certain style that you have, and it makes sense, like it fits. So that was kind of like...
You can be... It's so funny. There's a couple of things with Killbillies like that where there's bits of the songs that the other guys they're sort of like subconsciously disagree with, and this is sort of never really do, like a couple of stops here and there in different songs where it's just like, nah, we're not going to do that.
Every so often there's an important part and stuff. So like there's one song that we have where it's like, well, we need to play it this way because that's what makes the song. If everyone's playing it one way and then one person isn't, then it's kind of like, well, we all get on the same page. But for the most part, like with the songs, I'm not a very, I guess, technical bass player, and I haven't played drums in a very long time. So last year I actually put out a couple of songs under a different name, Heartform,
Right.
and the recording's pretty not great, but but I think I held my own, right?
Yes. And it's just,
But-
that's for. Was it just because you had all these extra songs and you were just trying to get them out there, or
Well,
was
no-
it to kind of learn how to? Were you experimenting just with playing drums a bit? Was it just a fun project?
It was a fun project.
Right.
I was putting together all these hard drives because I had just gotten a new computer.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I was like, I haven't written in a long time. I don't have that much music, etc. I put it all together. I'm like, wow, I got 78 songs. Like, I probably should do something about that.
78.
Yeah,
that
like,
is a lot of songs.
over the years. This is from like high school up until right.
Yeah.
And I had written even more recently than I had thought I had. So
Cool.
I should do something about that. And that's really what kick-started all of this. And I started putting together my own home studio. And I got Reaper, which is a DAW and everything. I had Cool Edit Pro, which was like before Adobe Audition bought out Adobe Audition. Like
Right.
I had a super old version of that. So
Something I just reminded me of is that one of my friends that Justin was talking about last week is that he was talking about Fruity Loops and the kids that he was talking to about it didn't even know what that was.
Right.
Right,
He was like,
yeah.
FL Studio, it stands for Fruity Loops. And I was like, oh, right.
yeah. But so I just I started putting that all together, and the first song that I actually put out, I had written. It was a parody of Plain White Tees, Hey There Delilah, right?
Yeah.
But I call it Hey There Barbara for one of my coworkers who was retiring from a job.
Gotcha.
It ended up like not sounding like it at all, but it was a great way
Did you
to
have
kind
to
of like
pronounce
learn
it,
the software.
Hey there, Barbara. Make it scan.
Hey there, Barbara. What's it like to be retired? Yeah, so,
funny.
but no, it's yeah. But either way, so it got me kind of started on the recording aspect of it all, and
Cool.
so I got together with Josh. We got Rowan. We got Scott.
It's a rabbit hole
and
recording,
took it
man.
over.
Once
Yeah.
again.
For sure.
But I will say, so everyone does bring their own bit to the songs, and
Neat.
like I said, when I was recording and all, if you listen to the bass lines are like straight bass. You know, there isn't any licks or stuff like that really with it. The drums are modified beats
MIDI.
and stuff. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not. It's nothing impressive, right?
Gotcha.
So, but now what all the guys bring to the songs and what we've crafted into like what we're recording and what we're producing is something that takes a bit of all of our styles and puts it into this like framework, this all of the lyrics and ultimately the product, the song.
Yeah, that's
And
excellent. And
just
you
blends it
played
all
me a bit
together.
of your new single that's coming out. What's it called again?
Yeah, Songbird.
Yeah, Songbird. You played me some of that, and it's recorded excellently, and it sounds really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sounds,
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah.
it sounds legit, man.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that, I mean, it's not like you're an amateur, you've done the course in it, but I just love the fact that, recording is somewhat accessible these days,
Yeah, for sure.
You can actually do it.
Yeah.
Like, and come up with stuff that can pretty much stand up against, most anything else. Like, it's awesome. I do the recording bands in my second bedroom as well. I've been doing that for a long time. This guy's Vibes Farm. Remember those guys? There's a whole bunch of reggae bands around here that I've recorded.
Oh, yeah, there's like a
few
million.
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but cool. So this next question is always a fun one. Do you practice your instrument at home these days?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's in fact, so we normally practice on today's Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
We're recording on Wednesday. This thing goes out later, but normally Wednesday is our practice night.
Yeah.
So we get together at the shed and we run through the set list. We work on some new stuff or whatnot. At home, I do practice because I want to get up there and not make a mistake. And also,
I like mistakes.
Yeah.
I think they're beautiful.
Jazz. Yeah.
But then playing and singing too that's a whole nother challenge. And so, Scott plays most of the lead in the songs, but I got a couple solos.
Yeah.
And then for some of his songs, I play the lead and all of that. So when you're up there and you're playing, I don't want to be thinking about what my fingers are doing. I want to just be feeling the song more. So the more that you practice through and you play the songs, and it may if someone rides with me in my car or something and one of my songs comes on, they might think like, oh, you're so self-centered. It's like, no, I'm trying to like learn it inside and out and
Yeah,
like
I get that.
every little bit.
I got Spotify playlists of the No Name Scar Band set and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And,
yeah.
It's just over
So-
and over again.
Yeah, and I also enjoy it, right? So, but
There are some people who don't like listening to their own music. I quite like it. I mean, this depends. It depends. There's certain periods of my music that I'll enjoy listening to.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah,
the
yeah,
further
yeah,
away
yeah.
it is, the more
Yeah.
I like listening to it. Cause,
Really?
Yeah, because
Oh,
if I'm
boy.
too
No.
close to it.
no, we were just doing this the other day. We
Trying to
played
dig
through
through
some
some
of our
stuff.
old stuff, and I
Yeah.
said, "All right, you want to hear the first single that my band?" Like in high school, I was part of a
Wanna hear
band
some
called
cringy
11
stuff?
Complaints.
Right.
And I said, someone once described this to me as it sounds like the drummer is playing on kitchen pots and pans. Like I said, literally, it was a microphone in the middle of a bedroom, and that's
Right.
how he did it. And he was sitting there, he was like,
Yeah, it's like it's cringy.
He got the Forrest Whitaker. But that's where you start.
Yeah, totally. We had this mini disc of so the first time my band Sonic Boom 6 played were recorded was this one of the sound guys. It was back when mini discs were a thing. And they and they recorded our set onto mini disc. And I remember putting it in and just being amazed by how bad it was. Just like, oh my God, that's what that sounded like? I was like,
sounds better
yeah.
live.
yeah. Well, it definitely was a wake-up call. We got a lot better after listening to that.
Well, I think vocals are another thing because
Sure.
I really don't mind listening to my own songs, but vocals are, I feel like I can never get it right. And that's one thing where the microphone that Scott has makes a huge difference. I have like a Blue Spark or whatnot.
Yeah.
Uh,
The one with the little round thing. on
yeah,
it.
yeah. And so like I use that for all the recordings that I did last year, and I did it for
With like no pop filter and like
well, no, I had a pop filter.
Okay.
I had it just like I guess I didn't know proper like distance or anything like that. But
It was only like
but
this
no
close.
matter no matter what I could record, it just never really sounded that great. But then I borrowed his setup and I ran it through my DAW.
What is this, Mike? Let's talk about it.
so Slate, the
Slate.
Slate Digital.
Right.
Yeah, Slate Digital. They make the VMR,
Right.
so virtual mic, whatever it stands for, and it comes with it has its own preamp. It's like supposed to be transparent, like a really really clear transparent preamp, and you plug
Wow.
the microphone into it,
Right.
and then in the DAW, I run Pro Tools or
Yeah.
Logic, whatever you're gonna run.
Yeah.
Then you open up like the VMR plugin, and you can tell it, well, do I want it to be a Neumann? Do I want it to be you name it?
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they got different Telefunken, whatever you want it to be. You can change it, and then you can also change what's in the chain. So you can
Right.
decide do I want a Neve preamp or do I want an SSL preamp
Yeah.
with this microphone? You can blend them all in together.
Oh, sick.
So it's probably been the best money I've ever spent on a microphone because I used to own a U87, a Neumann,
Really?
which I loved, right?
Yeah.
But the
How
thing
much-
is,
they're like,
it-
what's it, like $1,000 or something?
a Neumann.
Yeah.
No, that one was almost. It was 3,800 something
Yeah,
like that.
okay,
It was
yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
The
I
U80
knew I was low on that. Yeah.
And so, anyways, I had the U87 that I was using for everything, and then one day I A/B'd it. I A/B'd the Slate and I A/B'd the U87. I kept going back and forth. I'm like, there might be a 4% difference, but my ear can't really hear it.
Right.
In a mix, you can't tell a difference.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But
How much does the Slate run at?
I think you can get it now for $800.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's like
expensive.
for the set.
I don't know. Maybe it's
like
1,000
9
or something.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
9
know.
or 1,000 or
Right,
something
right,
like
right.
that.
But you could tell it to be whatever. And then you can get smaller microphones, then you can turn them into 57s or SBs or whatever you want. So,
Yeah.
you can do all that with it too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
It
pretty
was-
sweet.
Yeah, it was great. Like when I recorded in basically
We used
like,
that
the
in
signal
the
came
906
through
for
flat
guitars,
or whatnot.
basically.
It made a big difference there. And hearing myself back, I'm like, oh, okay, it sounds good.
That's cool.
It
man.
wasn't as colored, and then we were able to, you specified the mic and all that sort of stuff. It came through. It was like, okay, so that actually sounds like my voice,
Yeah.
not like someone's. If you're singing, it sounds very stereo. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like
Yeah.
just
I
a
get it.
different
So
sound.
the record, the single that's coming out.
Yeah.
When does that come out?
Oh, it's coming out on the 17th.
Right, and everyone. I mean, we record this on the Wednesday night, but basically when everyone is hearing this, which is going to be Friday morning, you guys' single Songbird is going to be out.
Our song is going to be out. Yeah. This is like
awesome.
Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music.
All the places.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. We have a song out right now, Change Your Methods.
Yeah, I listened to it.
And that, if you go to Reverb Nation, that's actually a free download.
Oh, great.
But yeah, part of the reason we wanted to get that out onto like Spotify, Apple Music, all that sort of stuff is so that we can have the name out there so that when Songbird hits, like people can,
Gotcha.
get it right away.
Yeah, that's great.
But no, so we're really excited for that one. I really enjoy that song. I wrote that in
I think it sounds
like
great,
November, I think, of last year.
Okay.
And is when I kind of wrapped it up.
Yeah, cool.
And it's really excited for people to hear it. It's, I don't know, I think it's a banger, but
That's awesome.
A little biased.
So, on the subject of you and playing songs, why don't we have you guys play us a couple of songs?
yeah, we'd love to.
Let's do it.
All right, let's get at it.
All right.
Search for meaning. Remember 10 years back the feeling. You wondered where your path was leading. The stars align across the ceiling. Somehow it fell in place. Oh no, don't go and mistake the past for what's to come. This storm will pass, what's done is done. Make it together, we'll brave the weather, ignite the future. Can you see it? Through glass a ruby shade revealing desire that you held in secret. Up to the moment you release it, it has a hold on you. Oh no, don't go and mistake the past for what's to come. The storm will pass, what's done is done. Make it together, we'll brave the weather, ignite the future. Oh no, don't go and mistake the past for what's to come. This storm will pass, what's done is done. Make it together, we'll brave the weather, ignite the future. Ignite the future. This town ain't big enough for the both of us, 'cause everywhere I go I come across these little reminders of unrequited love. It's time for a new plan, time to begin again. Find some peace and embrace embrace a new mindset, 'cause that type of thinking was breaking my spirit. My soul was so weary, I didn't want to hear it. So I'm packing my suitcase, and I put on a new face, and I'm leaving this old place, and I'll never be back. This town ain't big enough for the both of us, 'cause everywhere I go, I come across these little reminders of unrequited love. I'm done traveling these sidewalks, retracing our steps. Your memory is haunting, I need to find rest. So I'm headed back home, where people still care. I'll be free to live again, 'cause you won't be there. So I'm burning our photos, the last thing to go. I've given your ring away, now I'm hitting the road. This town ain't big enough for the both of us, 'cause everywhere I go, I come across these little reminders of unrequited love. And sign after sign, I'm sick of towing this line. I said my piece, it's time to leave. I'm doing this for me. Future is clear, there's nothing for me here. So long, Omaha. I won't miss you at all. So long to the past. I'm breaking free at This town ain't big enough for the both of us, 'cause everywhere I go, I come across these little reminders of unrequited love. This town ain't big enough for the both of us, 'cause everywhere I go, I come across these little reminders of unrequited love. I won't miss you at all. I won't miss you at all. No. I won't miss you at all.
So, 561 Music is brought to you by Handlebars Bar and Grill. And it's a restaurant bar in Tequesta, which is a small little, if you don't know it, it's basically a part of Jupiter. It's between Jupiter and Hobe Sound. And if you just keep on going on US 1 from Jupiter north, it's about a minute and a half up on your right there on the side of US 1. You can't miss it. It's got a big yellow sign, says Handlebars on it. And it's a biker bar. We have a whole bunch of music there. We have music on the second Thursday of every month, which is our bike night, and that's that's a great time. Everyone comes down and brings their bikes and stuff, and then we have on Saturdays from 6 to 9, and we have people playing on Sundays from 4 to 7 as well. I sometimes go and do that as a solo thing, and we have just a huge range of music because we're starting to get there now, but at the moment we're just sort of putting on loads of different stuff and seeing what people like and seeing what sticks. So it's an interesting time to come and check out the music there, because for right now, you never know what you're going to get. I mean, it does sort of lend more towards kind of like biker style music. So, it's more kind of rock and classic rock type bands. But if that's your kind of thing, come and check it out. And the food is great. And you got Burnsy in there, who's the chef, and he's a real character, real cool guy. And Jamie, who works behind the bar, is a delight. We have a whole load of interesting German and Belgian beers on tap, and it's real cool. You never know what you're going to see there. We have rat rods show up and really cool, interesting old British bikes and stuff like that. So it's a good time and something definitely very unique. And also, it's been in the area for a real long time. So you guys should come and check it out. All right. So that's Handlebars. All right, guys. So that was awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about the songs that you just played?
Sure. So, the first one there is "Ignite the Future," and I wrote that. That's our newest song.
Yeah.
I wrote that I met someone who, was kind of just. It seemed like they were really caught up in the past or something that was holding them back. Okay. And so that song is really more about, having the strength or like the faith that the storms are going to pass.
Sure.
That you can get through stuff.
Yeah.
And to like ignite the future is to
nice
like embrace it and really kind of just
make
start
it happen,
forward. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So. Started off as Fire the Future, but they were like, Fire the Future. Like, what's that mean? You're fired. Like,
yeah, we're not Donald Trump here. You're fired.
No. It does make more sense now.
No, but, right? So that one, there's a bit of poetry in there, like the stars align across the ceiling and through shades of ruby glass. So, like, looking at the world through, rose-colored glasses and all that sort of stuff. But that one, for some reason, when we play it, we all just really like playing that one. You say it's got like a
it's just got a good like groove to it. Like I always want to start with it, even though everybody's like, no, we shouldn't start with that. But if you don't know a band and like they're playing something and it gets your head bobbing, you know what I mean? Like it just does that. It just makes you want to like, okay, and you're kind of listening to it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I loved it. It's a real cool song, and I'm going to see you guys play it on the weekend, so I can't wait to see the real thing.
Oh yeah. No, that one, it's definitely meant for like a full
electric
band
guitars,
setup. Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you that for a band who doesn't always play acoustic or very rarely plays acoustic, you're very good at it. So don't worry about it. Came across really well.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. What was the other tune about?
The other song, so Little Reminders. That's why I left the Midwest, right? So that story is very kind of near and dear and personal, real situation, all that sort of stuff.
Right. That was a beautiful song. I enjoyed that one.
Just like walking everywhere, seeing reminders of someone and all that. I
know what that's like. That's one of the reasons why I wasn't like it's not. I left England because my wife got a job here. That's the reason we came. But like, there's definitely some things about, it was kind of nice to get out of Dodge at the same time,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
That's kind of, get out of Dodge, right? So this town ain't big enough for the both of us. You normally hear that and you think of, like, a Western or something like that. But town ain't big enough for the both of us, because everywhere I go, I come across little reminders. Right?
I've written like a few songs about this very subject, and it's near to my heart, and I can totally relate to it. And the other side of that coin, though, is, which I've explored in my songwriting, is no matter where you go, there you are. You know, it's quite difficult to escape from yourself.
No, that's for sure too.
Yeah.
But no, so like in general, just writing songs, I tend to gravitate towards those sorts of things. So relationships, trials, strife, but then also like encouragement. So like Songbird, the song that is released today, right, the 17th.
Yeah.
That one's really about just like getting your wings and you know, someone who's timid or whatnot. Like it's okay, you can go. Like you know, sing your song, all that sort of stuff.
Cool, man.
So yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Well, we have a little bit of a section at the end of the show where we talk about people's gear, and I like this. Hector jokingly calls it, you know, my sort of shopping hour. We just go through people's pedals. So, yeah, Justin, can we have a look at some of these pedals? Which one of you guys' board is this one?
Geez.
Oh, that's Scott.
Yeah, that's
not
not
right.
right. So, I mean, this is what it kind of looks like right now.
Okay.
There's a lot of empty space. It's not normally empty.
So this is kind of mostly for the uninitiated. Can you just tell us sort of in kind of layman's terms what you've got going on there?
Yeah, so I got the tuner on the right side, like towards the middle, and then it's going, I think, into the pitchfork. What I do is I kind of do this like octave above and octave below for only like one song that we actually play.
Is it like is it a solo type thing?
It's actually like this big open,
like creepy.
It's like this big open creepy sound, and
cool.
it's
awesome.
I tried like 5 different other pedals, like this was the only one that did what I was looking for.
Oh, neat.
So that's like the only reason I have it, basically, and then. It goes from there into the OCD, which is a full tone pedal, which I can't live without.
Right.
I tried.
What does that
tried. It's an overdrive pedal,
Yeah.
and quite frankly, I think it's probably one of the best sounding overdrive pedals I've ever used. And I tried using the Sunset Overdrive by Strymon. I've tried using all these different things, and I keep going back to that pedal. It's got the bite too. You know what I mean? Like it's got the bite. So it's not just like it's big and gnarly. It just has a certain like.
Nice edge to it.
Yeah, a nice edge to it that I just can't put it down. And then the other one, the other full tone, I don't know what that is. Full tone 2, it's like a MOSFET.
Like,
I can't really see it from there, but that's more of like a slight overdrive. But again, those have like a certain bite to it. I tried using other pedals, and I kept going back to that one for certain.
That's good to know. I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, man. The Strymon, that's the Deco pedal. It's like a tape saturation, and it's a tape delay too. So I'll use that if I want to like do a little bit of slap back kind of like delay for an electric guitar part. And then the Memory Boy, everybody kind of knows the delay pedal. The Memory Boy is pretty classic.
Yeah, for sure.
I had a different pedal that was like a tape delay, but I kind of wanted it for another board that I'm working on, so I kind of moved it over, and I'm using this Memory Boy. And as long as I can tap my foot on it and set the tempo, I don't really care. You know, It's got a nice tone, nice sound to it. And then I think the top right.
It's a Canyon.
I mean, I'm using like send and return effects on the amp. But so I can't tell you exactly. I think from the Deco goes into the amp, but then I go into the delay after that, and then to that Canyon. It's a Grand Canyon. And Lee's the one the reason why you see all these stickers is because Lee gave me the idea. Instead of marking your board, just put it on a piece of tape. And then so I was an idiot for years. I would just mark it with Sharpie. You know,
he's like, you don't do that? I'm like, no.
He was like, you don't do that? He's like, no, because I just assume I'm going to have everything forever. But since lately I've been like going through pedals like, water.
It's a great idea, honestly. Like
it really is.
I should do that. Because all I do is I set it where I want it to be, and I just bind the thing up with tape.
Yeah,
but I should like put a little piece on there. And
you'll see my board next.
Yeah,
I started using like O-rings around the knobs to stop them from like sliding around. You know, because when you move it around, it gets knocked around.
You can see it on the Strymon there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can kind of see it. Well, kind of. It's black, so it's hard to see it. They're black.
That is smart.
Yeah,
I'm going to do that. That's really smart.
Whatever makes your life easier, right? In the long run, because when you get a gig, you're like thinking about 10 other things. You're not thinking, oh, let me make sure all my knobs are set. You know, like
totally.
Especially if you're late for a gig, right?
I know, and there's always like one connection, and you can't figure out which one it is. When not always, but when something goes wrong with the pedal board, it's so stressful because there's like a gazillion things that should be wrong with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've been cross fingers. Oh, I don't know why I'm saying this. Oh no, it's going to bring me bad luck. But I've been pretty lucky lately, you know, with that stuff.
Not gonna.
I just curse myself. I can't believe I did that.
Don't say it.
All right, Lee, let's have a look at yours.
Yeah. So you see a couple of the same pedals there that Scott has. I've got the OCD,
brought him over to the dark
Pitchfork,
side.
and the Spark there, like I don't know, the Spark Mini, Spark Baby, whatever. I got my tuner Korg Pitch Black, which everyone, whenever they see it, is like, that's a cool tuner.
It is a cool tuner. I give you
So,
that.
and then the Pitchfork, that's essentially my digital capo. That's how I use it.
Right.
And certain things it's good for. If it's clean, it doesn't sound as great. Mostly if there's distortion, we can kind of get away with it. But half the time I break out the capo anyways.
I see you using those knobs on the end. Is that I tried Scott Gaylor, who's just a fantastic guitarist and a local guy. He gave me one of those kind of big knobs to put on the thing. The problem is, I think the way that I use I thought it was just going to be the coolest thing in the world, but the way I use my freeze pedal, I think I must kind of like come onto it from the side, and then it doesn't catch the knob.
No, so the reason why I have those is to draw my attention to them, and then also so that Boss foot pedal at the top, I don't like how close the buttons are to each other. Right? So it's not like I have gigantic feet or anything. I mean, hey, but but yeah, it's easy to step on like channel 2, channel 3 at the same time. So that's kind of why I've got channel 3, which is my effects right there for just a couple of our songs.
Cool.
I hit that, and so that's why that one has one on there.
He doesn't need too many pedals. You just got to keep it simple.
I also don't want to hit the Pitchfork on accident. Right?
Is that a volume swell pedal?
It is. It's the MVP, so the Ernie Ball MVP. So it does gain, and the way that I have it set is heel is rhythm, toe is lead.
Cool.
And then the spark is solo. So I mean, I could get away with the toe down on the MVP for solo, and I like that better. To me, it just feels better when I hit it. But it's rhythm lead essentially is how I have it set up, and I love that.
It's a smart way of doing it.
The board itself, I actually built.
Yeah.
So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Which is out pieces of wood.
Yeah, it's
you smell the varnish for like weeks afterwards.
Right.
You come to practice and
I didn't do enough.
What's that smell?
I didn't do enough polycoats or stuff. But
You're like
so it's essentially it's a suitcase.
It's like, dude, I think I'm getting a little high off your varnish.
But it's legit.
Feeling kind of funny.
Good stuff. All right. Well, so the last bit in this show, we talk about like gigs that are coming up and stuff like that, and we are all going to be at the same gig this weekend,
right?
We're gonna
and so is everyone who's listening, right?
One would hope so. So we're doing a 561 music event at Connolly's, and it's from 9 to 1. And I'm going to get the flyer. Oh, there's the flyer. Look, perfect. Look at that.
Hey.
Justin saving the day there. And so we've got Sons of a Tradesman, who are local boys around there. They're going to be sort of like holding it down. They're I guess you would call them the main attraction. They're a fantastic band, aren't they? Sons of a Tradesman.
Oh, I
know.
yeah, we played with them. We opened for them at Matthews Brewing Company.
Oh, cool.
And loved their show, and their stage presence is awesome.
Yeah, totally, man. And then you got Butch and the Fat Dudes, which is we share James with Killbillies, and also he's in Euphobia. And I think Euphobia might have been on this show at one point as well, but unfortunately, not anymore.
They can't make it this time.
Yeah, but we got Sandman Sleeps, they have a pretty new band. Zach and Zach Jones is in those guys, and the other guys who their names are escaping me this second, but they're really good. Have you heard them?
I haven't, but I'm excited to.
Yeah,
we played with Butch and the Fat Dudes at our last show in Euphobia at Swampgrass Willie's, but Sandman Sleeps, I haven't heard them yet. I checked them out a bit, and I'm really excited to watch them.
They're really good, and they're really cool too. They're nice. They're definitely like sort of. When I'm hanging out with those guys, I don't feel that cool. they're super cool guys.
I feel a little less cool now.
And have you got any other gigs coming up?
Yeah. So October 9th, we're back at Matthews Brewing Company, and we're opening for 46 and Tool. So that kicks off at 7:30 with us.
Cool.
And I love that venue. Second time that we'll be there.
Nice.
And then we've got, I think Swampgrass Willie's is coming up November 6th.
Cool.
And with that, we've got Young Fiction, which is like a punk rock band that's been around a bit, younger guys and all that sort of stuff. But definitely in that punk genre.
Yeah.
And we got Subject to Change as well.
As far as my head is kind of sort of set in terms of sort of genres and stuff like that. To me, you're a punk band. You know, when I hear it, that's what it is. But you know, like, and I love it, and it's so nice to meet you guys and have you play some songs for us. I really enjoyed it. We always do a Killbilly Shameless plug on here as well, and
Nice.
our gig, we're playing at the King Crab Shack from 6:30 to 10:30. That's in West Palm Beach. If you want to come and see us on Friday, so the day this comes out, we're playing, and then if you don't make it to that, then all of us guys are going to be down at Connolly's on Saturday.
Yeah.
Cool. So thanks so much for coming on, guys.
Yeah,
pleasure.
thanks for having us.
Oh yeah, it's my pleasure. Only a pity Hector couldn't be here, but next time.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah.
Sounds good, man.
Peace out.
Take it by the scene, it's what we're doing. Come and check it out, it's what we're all about.